Hi everyone, it's Nicole, and I'm here with another layout that I got done at the crop back in October of 2022. I had a whole bunch of layouts that I did back in October 2021, but this is my recent one. I got 26 pages done. This is layout number 5. This one took me 43 minutes to complete. And it's definitely my favorite kind of page kits because if you look, it's just a whole bunch of scraps. And when that happens, I kind of look at the scraps and go, you know what? I have two photos. I have, this little scrap of black and white pattern paper. So I'm going to use it like a little band of pattern paper to kind of get the photo stuck to the side of the layout. I'm going to do the same thing with that yellow pattern paper. Now the yellow pattern paper, the branding strip that was at the bottom kind of had words on it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to leave that there. And that's how I'm going to start off with this layout. Now I matted two photos 4x4 on some black cardstock. And then I'm going to remat one of them, I believe, with this pattern paper, that black and white pattern paper. And then I also matted um, on some yellow pattern paper for the other photo. I kind of cut that out because the video was getting kind of long. It was like 11 minutes. So I just cut the matting of the second photo out, but I did it with a piece of scrap. Now I'm taking some distress ink. I believe it's hickory smoke. I'd rather use hickory smoke than black soot. I find black soot is very in your face and hickory smoke is more like smoky, like kind of just it distresses the edges, but it's not blatant in your face. And sometimes I use the sponge and sometimes I like to do the direct ink pad to paper, and that's what I decided to do this time. And once all that is done, then I start gluing down the photos and the pattern papers. One thing I don't like is I don't like to build my whole page and then glue everything down. I don't like things shifting around on me. So once I know, yes, this is what I want to do, I start gluing down because you can waste so much time doing the shuffle, if you will. Now, if you've been with me for some of my virtual crop, I explain, the whole stick it thing that I like to do. Once I decide, I just stick it. And then there's a story behind the stick it that's a little funny. But so once you, if it's pleasing to your eye, just stick it and then move on because a lot of time can be wasted by shuffling things around. And once I have the background down, then I say, okay, now I can start playing with the embellishments. A lot of times I'll work on 3 embellishment clusters all at once, and then I'll start gluing them down. Or sometimes I'm just in the mood, as I'm finding something, if I like it, I just stick it down. So I used a 3x4 card that said a million tiny little things. And it was just kind of appropriate for this because this was at Stanley Park. And it has these huge trees, which are not tiny at all. But I thought it was, pretty awesome to use on this page because there was a million tiny things or a million things, million reasons why we absolutely love Stanley Park. Of course, I had already put my title on some wax paper, so it was just Stanley Park, so I glued that down. Of course, I did my journaling pre-crop, so I right away just copied down the journaling. That was such a time saver for me because when there's so much going on, you have like 25 people or however many people in a room, and there's chitter chattering going on and laughter and going on. I cannot focus enough to um, think about what I want to say in my journaling. So having my journaling done ahead of time was amazing. Now I have to say there's a few times that I would put the page away and I'd be like, oh, I forgot to do the journaling. But you know what? That's why it was nice that I had my journaling separate than my page kit, because I could go back and say, what page kit was that? Oh, that right there. And I would take it out. But if I would have left that in my plastic bag, then I would have had to go digging in the plastic bags. This way, all my journaling recipe cards are all together and I could just go through them and find one, for the correct page. And then I ended up adding a few butterflies in gray, I believe, dark gray and light gray. I did the flight of the butterfly. Once I have everything down, I believe at this point I have two of my three embellishment clusters. Once everything's down, then I can say, okay, I have one by the title, I have one at the top left corner of the page, and now the perfect spot for the third cluster would be at the bottom, a left cluster. And I did end up using quite a bit of circles. I wanted to, there was one little sticker circle that I used, so then I used a smaller viewfinder in our 1 inch. We have from 1 inch to 2 inch in viewfinders. We have some that have hearts in the middle, some that don't. And I just love using them as part of my foundation for my clusters. Another thing that I really tried to do was in between each pages, I cleaned up my mess. So as you can tell, I knew I pretty much have everything that I want on this layout. So I'm going to kind of clean up. And then I was like, hey, I don't think you used that much washi tape up to now. So this would have been much, much easier if I would have put down the washi tape before I glued everything down. But that's okay. If anything, it just made me use maybe a little bit less because I didn't waste anything behind that 3x4 card. And that washi tape right there, the black and white stripe washi tape, is my favorite washi tape of all time. And it's almost all gone. So I am trying to, uh, you know, use the least amount of it as I possibly can. Now, I was really good about picking up in between each of the pages, making sure my, surface was clean. One thing I didn't do, and I wish I did, was make other page kits with my leftovers. But that's okay. I kept everything in one spot, and I think I'll probably take an afternoon and try to make page kits with my leftovers before I, separate everything. But that's it. That's going to complete this layout. And I want to thank you so much for watching. Bye.